One of the most difficult things for a greenhorn or newly joined sailor to adjust to when going to sea for the first time is the bewildering wealth of unfamiliar words, phrases, and expressions that he will be exposed to in daily shipboard life. For the uninitiated, listening to hoary old sheet anchormen holding forth on catharpins, funnick shrouds, and Flemish horses can seem like encountering a foreign language. And indeed, many sailors have been aboard ships since early boyhood, and have quite literally been raised speaking the language of the seas. For such fortunate souls, braces have nothing to do with teeth, but rather are lines used for swinging round the yards. Pintles and gudgeons are not some fantastic and mysterious type of gnome, but are fasteners for connecting a rudder, and clue garnets bear no resemblance to the semi-precious stone, but instead are lines used for hauling up and furling sails. Now, lest ye despair of ever mastering the sailor's peculiar dialect, I should tell you that you probably already know more seagoing jargon than you may think. Maritime expressions have a tendency to creep into the speech of even the most land-bound among us. Say, for example, that you have a messmate who is a wild fellow indeed. He disobeys orders with reckless abandon, his actions are unpredictable, and he does as he pleases, without regard for the consequences. Well, you might say that such a fellow is something of a loose cannon, might you not? But did you know that this label's roots are entirely maritime? On ships, you see, we keep our deck guns, or cannons, securely lashed down at all times. Otherwise, the pitch and roll of the ship in heavy weather would toss them about the deck with disastrous results. Providence's own deck guns are only 4-pounders, about as small a carriage gun as you shall find on board a fighting ship, but even so they weigh nearly 500 pounds apiece. No doubt you can imagine the terrible carnage that would ensue if one of them were to break free of its lashings and go careening about the crowded deck. Now, let us say that this same fellow has a fondness for drink. Perhaps he has been hoarding and saving up his rum ration for days or even weeks. He now decides, loose cannon that he is, to drink it all at once. When you see him staggering and roaring about the berth deck, you may turn to a shipmate and say, "Why, old so-and-so is 3 sheets to the wind." You mean, of course, that he is drunk, but this phrase, too, has maritime roots. Sheets, you see, are lines that we use for controlling the sails. If these ropes are let go to flap aimlessly in the breeze, the vessel will lurch and roll in an uncontrolled and drunken manner. And so, you see, you probably already know more maritime jargon than you may think. Be sure to check back regularly for the nautical origins of more everyday words and phrases.